Ever caught yourself staring at your phone, waiting for a reply, only to find yourself spiraling into anxiety when the text doesn't come? You know the feeling. Checking their status, reading into every little detail, wondering if they're ignoring you. But here's the truth. What you're feeling isn't love. It's fear. Fear of rejection, fear of being abandoned, and fear of being left in the unknown. But the more you try to hold on, the further it slips through your fingers. It's time to break free from this anxiety and discover how to build real, secure love that doesn't rely on constant reassurance or mind games. Let's dive into the patterns that hold you back and how you can change them. Section 1. The anxiety spiral. You've just sent a message. Now, you wait. The minutes feel like hours, and the longer you wait, the more your mind starts racing. Did they see it? Are they ignoring me? Are they with someone else? The thoughts start to spiral out of control. You check their profile. Were they online? Did they like someone else's post? What does it mean? You can feel the panic building as you wait for a reply. So you send another message, maybe something casual like, "Hey, just checking in." But inside, it's not casual at all. You're desperate for reassurance. The more you wait, the more anxious you get. Maybe they're upset with you. Maybe you said something wrong. And before you know it, you're over-explaining, apologizing, or even getting angry at their silence. But what if everything you're feeling is just your anxiety speaking? What if they're not ignoring you at all, but just busy, living their life? Here's the hard truth. Their response time has nothing to do with their feelings for you. It's just life happening. And your anxiety is distorting that silence into something personal. It's time to stop letting that spiral control you. Recognize the pattern. Understand that the silence isn't a sign of rejection. It's just part of life. When you stop letting silence define your relationship, you take back control and the anxiety begins to fade. Section 2. Attachment 101. At the heart of clinginess is something called attachment theory, and understanding it can change everything. Think back to when you were a child. If the adults in your life were unpredictable, showing love one day and pulling away the next, your brain learned to expect love to come and go without warning. Fast forward to adulthood, and that childhood programming is still running in the background. When your partner takes a little longer to reply, your brain doesn't think they're busy. It thinks, "I'm being abandoned." This fear triggers anxiety and starts the cycle all over again. It's as if your mind goes back to that childlike place of needing constant reassurance, even when everything is perfectly fine. But here's the key. These patterns aren't permanent. They're just habits formed long ago, and habits can change. Once you recognize the role of attachment in your relationships, you can start to rewrite these old fears. With every moment you calm yourself instead of spiraling, you're teaching your brain a new way to respond, one that doesn't rely on constant validation. It's about reprogramming your responses and learning to trust in your partner, and more importantly, in yourself. Section 3. The childhood connection. Behind every anxious text and every moment of clinginess lies a scared child who learned that love wasn't always reliable. Maybe a parent was emotionally unavailable, or affection came with conditions, or perhaps someone important left and no one explained why. Your young mind made a decision. If I just hold on tighter, love won't leave. Now, as an adult, when your partner doesn't text back right away, that old fear kicks in. Instead of responding with rationality, you slip back into that childlike mindset, feeling abandoned, scared, and powerless. You forget that you're not that helpless child anymore. You have tools now that you didn't have back then. You can soothe yourself. You can rationalize. You can step back and recognize that silence doesn't equal rejection. To heal, you have to become the parent to that scared inner child. When anxiety rises, instead of checking your phone for reassurance, take a moment to comfort yourself. Remind that little part of you that everything is okay. Love isn't leaving. It's just giving space to breathe. By nurturing your inner child, you stop letting old fears control your relationships and start healing from the inside out. Section 4. Breaking the checking cycle. The checking cycle is like an emotional slot machine. You pull the lever, check your phone, and wait for a win. Maybe you'll see a reply, or maybe you won't. Either way, your brain gets hooked on the rush of checking, constantly seeking reassurance. But each time you check, it's like scratching an itch that only makes it worse. You feel temporary relief, but the anxiety comes back stronger, demanding more checks, more validation. You check Instagram, WhatsApp, Snapchat, anything to ease the uncertainty. But instead of bringing peace, it only fuels the fear, keeping you trapped in a loop. The more you check, the more the cycle tightens its grip on you. So, how do you break free? It starts with boundaries. Treat your phone like a recovering addict treats a trigger. Remove the temptation. Turn off read receipts, disable last seen, and make it harder to check in the first place. The first few times will feel uncomfortable, even like you're fighting against your own mind. But with each moment you resist, you're building trust in yourself. not in waiting for a message, but in knowing you'll be okay whether or not it arrives. The key is not in what they're doing, but in what you're doing. When you stop checking, you reclaim your power. You build trust in yourself and stop letting anxiety control your actions. It's time to let go of the need for constant reassurance and start living without the compulsion to monitor every moment. Section 5, the independence paradox. Here's a surprising truth. The more complete you are on your own, the better your relationships will be. When you're constantly seeking validation from your partner, it creates a dynamic of neediness. You're relying on them to fill emotional gaps, making them responsible for your happiness. But the real magic happens when you're already whole. When you stop trying to fill an emotional void with someone else, you become a person they choose to be with, not someone they feel they have to take care of. You bring your own sense of fulfillment, passions, and hobbies to the table, enriching the relationship rather than draining it. Instead of needing them to fix your emotional state, you're able to stand strong on your own, which actually makes your bond healthier and more balanced. Independence isn't about being alone or not needing anyone. It's about being so complete within yourself that you don't rely on your partner to make you feel worthy or happy. It's about showing up in the relationship as your best self, not someone desperately seeking validation. When you're emotionally independent, you can love freely without the fear of losing your sense of self. Ironically, it's when you stop needing them so badly that they're more likely to want to stay. Section 6, boundary. Boundaries aren't about pushing people away. They're about creating space for healthy love. It's a common myth that setting boundaries means you don't care, but in reality, boundaries show how much you respect yourself and your partner. They're not walls, but gates that allow love to flow freely without becoming toxic. Without boundaries, relationships can easily become overwhelming, like a garden with no fence. Everything gets trampled, including your emotions. Setting boundaries means you're protecting the relationship and making sure it remains strong, sustainable, and free from unnecessary drama. For example, you don't need to respond to every text immediately, and it's okay to have plans that don't involve your partner. Your emotions are yours to manage, not theirs to fix. Their mood doesn't have to become your emergency. The fear of setting boundaries is often rooted in the worry that your partner will think you don't care. But if they interpret your healthy boundaries as a sign of neglect, that's a clear red flag. A loving relationship celebrates space and independence, while toxic attachment resents it. The more you practice boundaries, the more respect you'll build, not just for your partner, but for yourself. Start small. Wait a little longer to respond to non-urgent texts. Avoid checking their social media every 5 minutes, or make plans with friends and stick to them. Each boundary you set is a vote for the relationship you truly want, one built on mutual respect, not desperation. Section 7. Self-soothing superpowers. When anxiety strikes, your first instinct might be to reach out to your partner for reassurance. But what happens when they're not available, or when they can't give you the comfort you crave? That's where the power of self-soothing comes in. Instead of relying on someone else to calm you down, you have the ability to find peace within yourself. Self-soothing begins with the body. When anxiety hits, your breathing becomes shallow, your heart races, and your mind goes into overdrive. So start with your breath. Take a deep breath in for 4 counts. Hold it for 4, and exhale for 6. Just 3 cycles of this simple exercise can signal your nervous system that you're safe, and your body can start to relax. The more you practice this, the more your body learns to respond to stress in a calmer way. Next, challenge those negative thoughts. When anxiety hits, it's easy to spiral into worst-case scenario thinking. You might start to tell yourself they're losing interest, or they don't care about me anymore. But these thoughts aren't facts. They're just anxiety talking. Ask yourself, what's the evidence for these fears? What's more likely to be true? Often, you'll find that your anxious thoughts are based on assumptions, not reality. Learning to challenge these thoughts helps you break free from the cycle of anxiety. The real transformation happens when you stop making someone else responsible for your emotional state. Instead of relying on your partner for comfort, you become emotionally self-sufficient. You trust that you can handle your feelings and that you don't need constant reassurance from others to feel secure. This shift from dependence to self-sufficiency is empowering. You start to realize that your peace doesn't come from external validation, but from within. And that's a superpower you can carry with you into every aspect of